Hello and welcome to the Art Department podcast. It's Urschel here in Singapore and we have Emmanuel Shiu in San Francisco. It's episode 33. The world has changed in ways we would have never thought, and it has changed in a matter of days or weeks, like it feels. So last week we had Ben Mauro talking to us a little bit about NFT, how he got into it, a little bit of like what it is and what it means. And since then, everything has exploded. Ben had a massive drop on Vive 3, like I think a lot of people saw, and we have been flooded with questions about what is this thing? How do I get in? How come I never heard about this? Who's people? What's going on? So we thought we're throwing out a special episode talking about all things crypto art, NFT, to just answer a lot of these questions and kind of give you guys a little bit of a guide of like, so where do I go now? Where do I sign up? What is a wallet? But we'll go step by step. I think one of the most important things in the beginning is to kind of just really briefly like talk about, so what is an NFT? Crypto art? What is that? Do you want to give us like a really quick...
Well, you go.
I go.
You're on a roll, man.
Yeah.
You were just talking about it right
Exactly.
before.
So basically, there's been words thrown around like NFT and crypto art, and what is that? So basically, it has to do with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum. We don't want to get into that because I think we honestly don't understand exactly how cryptocurrencies work. But apparently they do, and they do work very well. So let's get to the crypto art and NFT thing and how that came about, since that is really the important thing here. So an NFT means NFT or crypto art is basically the same thing. An NFT is a non-fungible token, fungible meaning exchangeable. So it's basically a way to uniquely identify a piece of digital code. It can be anything. It can be any kind of code. It can be music, any kind of code, really. It just happens so that it has really blown up when it came to digital artwork. So it's a way to identify and verify for everybody to see a real thing, because a unique digital piece. So in that sense, we can finally talk about, like, I mean, you can take a JPEG, for example, of your work, and then you can duplicate it, and it is just as good as the original. You can copy it again and again, and everybody can own it, right? The JPEG copy of that file, and it would be identical, right? So there's no way previously to identify a digital original. And now that is actually possible by writing this bit of code that the JPEG consists of into the blockchain. And so it can be verified. So now it's actually possible to sell a digital original to somebody via the cryptocurrency. And currently this functionality is only possible with the Ethereum blockchain, and I think Flow as well. And
I think Flow was made just for this.
Yeah, exactly. Flow was just made for this. So
I think, and only one site right now, Vive 3, is the one that uses Flow. Everything else uses Ethereum.
Exactly. So there's benefits and drawbacks to both, I guess. But anyway, so now you can buy digital originals. So I mean, how is that different? And I think a lot of people always compare it to like, so anybody can buy basically a poster of the Mona Lisa, but only one person can own the original Mona Lisa, right? So maybe for the average viewer, just the pleasure of looking at it is the same, but of course the value is attached to the original. And also, I mean, it's a psychological thing to know that, hey, I'm the only person in the world who can own the Mona Lisa, because I mean, first of all, there's only one original and it's freaking expensive. So that kind of plays a role, and that's the kind of thing we have to understand here. So that's basically just a really quick basic rundown of what it is. But I mean, so what does that mean, right? So now it's possible for us artists who work predominantly digital to actually be able to sell the original, not the technically the original PSD. Like we don't give the owner like the, how to say, like the PSD file with all the layers, right? That's not what it's about. It's the image, the creation itself that we sell, and we still retain all the copyright, right? So we can use it for our own marketing. It doesn't change like how we can use it, but just the same way that maybe the maybe there's a owner for the Mona Lisa who owns the marketing rights, so they can make posters, postcards, pillows, whatever with it, right? And that's basically what we can still do with it. So we don't hand over the original ZBrush file for your sculpt or anything, nothing like that, right? It's a different idea. And there's a primary market for you selling, you being basically the gallery owner, like Ben said last week, of your own creations, and you can sell that. And then there's a secondary market where, of course, a lot of people who want to invest in you or invest in the artwork you produced, they can buy it with the intention to keep or buy with the intention to sell. So in case, I think very famously it was one of the Beeple images that got bought by an initial buyer for I think about $60,000, and then he sold it a few months later for $6.6 million. That not only makes people happy, that also makes the investor very, very happy, because he basically increased, like has an incredible return that would be impossible to get in any other investment.
And it also makes people happy because he gets a cut of that,
so he
10%.
He gets a 10% cut from it, which is also great. So he gets $600,000 for basically not having done anything. I mean, directly related to that. And that, of course, creates a unique opportunity not only for the artist, but also for investors. Which is the perfect storm, and that's kind of what's happening right now, because a lot of people jump into that. I think it was initially dominated by, I think, a lot of cryptocurrency savvy people, cryptocurrency savvy investors who made a lot of money in the cryptocurrency boom and who now seek for new investment opportunities. But of course, now it's kind of blowing up on the scene. We're having Christie's, a traditional auction house, currently still auctioning off the first NFT, which is again from Beeple. And I think a lot of more traditional investors and companies are looking into this space to see what is possible. And at this point, I think anything's still possible, right? I mean, God knows what happens next week. It's like, it feels like every week in the NFT space
Well,
is
they're
like
calling
a year
it
somewhere else.
They're calling it the Wild West, basically.
Right now,
at this
yeah,
point,
it is. It's
right?
the gold rush, right?
Yeah.
So to speak, but just happening a lot faster. But so, I mean, as a first step, so everything is cool, everything is great. Either you feel like, okay, I want to cash in and want to make a lot of money, or you feel like, hey, this is a fantastic opportunity for me to focus on my personal work and express myself and potentially get paid for it, right? This kind of decision of what you want to do with it is purely your own, and nobody else should really judge you on that. And it's really about what you want to do with it. And so
yeah, let's. So I mean, so now you know all this.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're wondering, okay, well, because you know what we're getting inundated with, or actually, I'm getting a lot of messages from people, and you know, I'm happy to share, but this is just the easiest and best way to reach as many people as possible. So you know, you can just be pointed to the video.
Yeah.
Is the biggest question, you know, really is, well, how do I get started?
Yeah, like what is all this stuff?
Like what, you know, should I go to Nifty Gateway? A lot of people are asking me that. And, you know, there's some things that I can save you the trouble, but, you know, there is a hierarchy of what sites are at the top. And when we say at the top, it means, like, for instance, Nifty Gateway. That's, you know, that's the holy grail. They're not really accepting people, but you should try anyway.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think the ranking is
but
like,
the thing is...
Sorry, the ranking is like in terms of accessibility, right? Not necessarily in terms of like value or anything, but in terms of accessibility of how easy it would be to get in.
Right. I mean, but Nifty, you know, I just saw a graph today. Nifty is has the
volume,
most growth, and it's selling the most.
Yeah,
so if you get on Nifty as a drop, you're gonna make a really good amount of money, because the reason is they curate it and they have scheduled drops. So it's not just like some marketplace you put up your stuff. And we'll get into like some of those details on what makes some sites better than others. But I will say that Nifty is more curated, and it's more like an art gallery saying, we're going to work on a series with you, and then we're going to release it for you. So Nifty is kind of like that. Like, you don't even have to mint your own pieces. Right, they'll mint it for you. Okay. You just give them the JPEGs or whatever and your series and what you want to do, and they'll do the rest. So that is a very, sort of white glove approach. So, of course, I applied, Jan applied, and I know that I didn't. They told me the usual we're booked email, but that's not to say you can't get in, because I mean, depending on who you are, what you do, you may be able to. So give it a shot. I mean, there's it won't hurt you, but what you do need to have ready for this site, Nifty Gateway, is a video, and you have to answer some of the questions. So just know that going in, you'd have to do that.
Most sites do, right?
Only two that I've seen so far. Yeah. And we've basically applied to almost every freaking thing out there just to see and get information as to, well, what are the platforms? Which one do we like? Which one don't we like? So the second one is below Nifty Gateways is Super Rare, which is another curated site that you have to apply and also need a video for. And Super Rare is a little bit more different in the sense that you're only selling one of ones, no additions, right? That's all you can do on Super Rare is one of ones. It's curated in terms of the entry point, right? So they vet you, and they through the video and all the form, and they make a decision on you, and then they either yes or no. But since everything has exploded, they're pretty much backlogged by. I've heard from 1 month to 6 months.
Yeah, anything,
so
right?
I don't know, right? I don't have any inside information when it comes to that. So you want to take the next couple?
I mean, there's Super Rare, and then I applied, right? I'm waiting already more than a month, and nothing has happened. So I'm sure that it's just gonna, like, because so many people apply, it's crazy. And then there's other stuff. I think so in terms of kind of the value that's being transacted. One of the next ones is like Maker's Place, and that's kind of, I think, together kind of with known origin. And maybe also Vive 3. They have more options in terms of, I think, being able to mint like editions of like 100 or whatever, and not only the one-on-ones. You don't need videos for those. You just need to go through the process of applying. But it's I think always good to just make an account anyway to see what's going on and to get a feel for how it is to sign up. And then there's also one that.
Oh, hold on. Let's just stay on that real quick. Because I actually, out of those, Vive 3, Known Origin, and Maker's Place is actually doing really well.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people there are getting a lot of success. Yeah. I actually really like Vive 3. Yeah. And that's where Ben sold all his trading cards.
So Ben did a big drop with Vive 3. Vive 3 is basically based on the Flow blockchain. Is quite a new thing. But so you see that in order to break the bank, you don't necessarily need to be on Nifty Gateway. So if you're like Ben was, I think, in a way very lucky, because he was kind of the first big artist to do a drop with Vive 3, like a coordinated drop, and that paid off big time. So it doesn't mean you have to be on Nifty, right? This is possible on all the different platforms, sure. I think.
Right, and the reason why I also like Vive 3 is some of the content in there. Like I know some artists, like a friend, Darren Bacon. His stuff is amazing. He's a great draftsman and designer, and a lot of things on that site is you can sell your drawings, and it's actually worth a lot there. like versus like super rare. I don't see many drawings.
Right.
I see it's more like abstract art, painted art, animations and stuff like that. But on Vive 3, it's a lot of that 2D stuff there that's very appropriate. So, like Jan said, go to every site, sign up. I mean, it doesn't cost anything.
Right.
And check it out and see where your art best fits. But, honestly, I would probably say apply for everything.
Yeah. At this point, you never know. One platform might die, the other one might like completely break out. But for now, it doesn't cost anything to be everywhere, right? Just make sure that, I think the main thing is that don't offer the same artwork on different websites. That will not work. Because of the idea of the uniqueness of the artwork, like you shouldn't mint the same artwork twice on different platforms. That you really shouldn't do.
Okay, and the reason being that who's buying this, right? So you need to know who's buying all this. The collectors. And the collectors, when you collect something, they don't want something that's minted all over the place. Right. Unless it's explicit. If they buy a one of one, right. If they buy a one of one, they want a one of one.
Exactly.
But you can't say, well, it's a one of one on Super Rare, and I'm going to mint the same place at Vive 3, and it's another one on one there. No, it can't. Yeah. So just make sure that you can be on multiple platforms, just don't mint the same thing.
It defeats the purpose
in multiple platforms.
I mean, and then we have a couple of other ones I think that are a bit different, right? So Foundation is still based on an invite system, so that once you're on there and you sell your artwork and you actually make a sale, then you get invites. It used to be that if you buy a piece there, you would also get invites. But from what I heard is that it's not possible anymore because they were just getting too many. So Foundation is actually a fast growing platform, again, because it's a bit easier to get in. But people are making, it's getting popular. It's getting very popular. And I think the term in terms of like the variety of the kind of artwork is very broad on Foundation. And there was a good point that actually Ben mentioned that Foundation right now is lacking these kind of features like following artists or like searching for artists, any kind of ranking, which actually keeps the playing field very level. Like it would promote certain artwork once the auction is triggered. We'll get to that later, what that means. But so there's no like top artists or top this or top that, where people would automatically like kind of flock towards the best sellers. And so it's being kept very, maybe unconsciously very level. So that makes Foundation very interesting. And then there's Rarible.
Well, I'll just cut in
on,
I mean, Foundation and all this, I don't know. But I'm on Super Rare. I've been selling on Super Rare, and I can say that there's still a top artist ladder and all that kind of stuff. So for that site, that's not the case. I'm just saying. It's actually, it's, but they're making their sites better.
Yeah, of course. But
what I do know is that these sites all have a search issue, and it's very hard to find certain things.
Right.
It's even hard to find my own.
Oh yeah. It's not
on some of these platforms. So don't go into it expecting your usual really robust website kind of thing, which will lead to the social media aspect. But we'll get to that. Yeah.
I think we have like kind of like two more that are kind of being talked about right now. One is Rarible. I think they don't have any hurdles to get in, right? You can just post anything. Anybody can post anything. So, which is great, but it's also, I think, very messy, and you kind of get everything. It's not curated, so it might be okay, but it's really difficult, I think, to be heard in all the noise, and that is Rarible. And then there's I think the last one is OpenSea, but that is like a secondary sales platform, right?
No, I think you can mint on OpenSea.
Oh, you can mint on OpenSea as well. Okay.
You can mint on OpenSea, yeah. So that is another platform where you can just mint. And there's other sites like Mintable. There are a lot of these sites that are out there, but these are the most popular
right now.
Because like for most people, they're already this is like 8 sites they're going to. I'd say that's enough. Until you get more savvy, and you find another platform you like.
Yeah.
so that's that.
And then I mean,
you can,
big platforms, I think they're also going to be looking for popular artists, and some of them might even approach you, right? If you're like a heavy hitter in the industry already.
If you're a heavy hitter, or if you've sold before, or you've sold a couple good.
So it's fine. It's so the interesting point I think is that so coming from maybe from concept art or coming from outside, you see a lot of the artwork that is on there, like maybe you feel like you don't fit in. Maybe you feel like, oh, there's like so much, but it's like, oh, this is all like 3D art, motion graphics. Like, I don't get it. Like, why would my stuff be, or how would my stuff be seen? Like, I mean, it's true that I think these platforms kind of spread initially in the motion graphics industry, in the 3D art, I think maybe through Beeple or whatever. Like it really blew up with people who do like tour videos and this kind of tour visuals and everything. But that doesn't mean that the makers of these sites initially kind of wanted to do that, right? It just so happened to spread there faster. So, I mean, and it should never stop you from applying to these sites, because I'm sure they also want to diversify. But I mean, so what is there something coming in the concept space that we can talk about?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, most of us, or I'd say most of us listening to this podcast, is going to know about ArtStation, and they're actually going to roll out their own NFT platform, and they're aiming to release next week.
Oh, okay.
So I think, obviously, it's going to be a very new thing. We don't have all the details, but, we are just telling you what details we know. And so, this is just some of the verbiage, right? I mean, ArtStation is going into NFTs so that we can help artists thrive and change their lives for the better by investing in this transformational technology. And what I have heard is that they do lower fees in terms of the percentage. I don't think anything is finals yet, so I can't really say. Initially, I think they're going to do a lot of curated they're going to curate sort of who they're going to roll out, because it's going to be a little bit more exclusive. I don't think it's anything different than like a Nifty Gateway or a Super Rare.
Right. At least initially, right, to test the waters. It's going to be more super rare rather than rareable. And then I guess
rather than just you minting whatever.
Yeah, you can't just like open it. I mean, it's going to be difficult. I mean, you can, but it's going to be very difficult, especially with a new platform. If you just open the floodgates immediately, the whole thing is going to break down.
Exactly.
And
yes. And they are aware of the environmental concerns, and they're going to build a plan to reduce the carbon footprint. Okay. And we'll talk about the environmental aspect a little later. Yeah. But that is basically what you can look out for it. I'm sure that once they roll it out, you'll know, because this is ArtStation, and
they will let everybody know.
They will let everybody know, and I have a lot of faith in at least I think that it's going to be, the platform itself is they have a very good infrastructure, and I have to say that some of these sites are really difficult to use in terms of not the difficulty, but in terms of the visibility and just, like I said, searchability, and just some of the very basic functions are still being made. And they didn't anticipate this crazy boom, right? But ArtStation is used to that, so I look forward to seeing what actually they're going to do.
Sounds good.
Very curious. So anyway, so that's sort of some of the sites and things that you need to look at. So now, okay, great, you've applied. Yeah. You're waiting for your approval.
Okay. Oh, you already accepted.
And you get approval. Yeah, you get an approval now. Oh yes, you get an approval. What do you do now? Because this is the crypto world, right? You may be like, okay, well, maybe I'll pay with my credit card.
Yeah, PayPal or whatever. Yeah, no.
That doesn't exist. So what you need to do is set up an exchange, which means you have to get money, fiat, if they call it fiat, but money from your bank into an exchange, and they'll exchange your money into whatever currency you want. Right? So that's an exchange.
Right.
And so there's a lot of them, like Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken. There's a whole slew of them, and you just have to do your research into which one you prefer.
Please take one that is like looks serious. They're approved by whatever monetary authority you have. Like in Asia, for example, it's a bit different. So Coinbase doesn't really work in Singapore, for example. So in this part of the world, there's stuff like Binance or Luno. We have also one called CoinHako. So these work also with local banks here, and then you can get your money in there. And like you said, right, so you deposit money, and you can exchange it there to, I mean, most likely Ethereum. And then you have actually some money stashed in there that is in that cryptocurrency. And then you can go invest in whatever you want, or you can do the next step. And now...
So, okay. Before that, a word of advice. When you do this, just know, okay, it's not an immediate process. So there's going to be a lot of verifications needed, especially if, from the States. So you can sign up for Coinbase or whatever really quickly. Yeah. Yes. But you have to be verified. So it means they will verify your driver license, front and back, all that stuff. And then if it's a bank transfer, it's going to take at least 3 to 5 days at least. Right. So just know that, because you might be like, well, I'll wait for my approval. Once I get it, I'll do that. Yeah, and usually when you're wanting to mint, and you don't want to wait 5 days because you feel like you're missing the boat.
Exactly.
And so just prepare.
Do it in advance.
You know how that feels. I was feeling the way, and I was like, I'll tell you my experience, because I was like, I want to mint this piece. I'm going to miss the boat. And so, and it's at 5 days. I'm like, but I'm already on Super Rare. I can do this now.
Yeah, but
in the end, I just sucked it up, and I went and found a way to use my credit card.
Oh, okay.
And I know there were fees.
Oh, yeah.
There's horrible fees. But I said, you know what? I just need $50, $100, so that I can mint this piece. Yeah. I'm not saying that was smart, but I was super anxious, and I know you guys are going to get like that.
It's very true. So I remember you actually telling me before, like already sign up there and transfer the money into your exchange, so you have it, so you don't have to wait. And of course I was like, that's fine. So I signed up with one service, and then realized, okay, like I signed up with Coinbase, and then it's like, oh, I can't use money transfer from Singapore. So then there's credit card fees, which are insane. And then I can't withdraw the money from Coinbase because there's no direct interface. So I was like, okay, let's find out what I can use in Singapore. So I found this other service, and it's fine. But again, they don't do like immediate deposit. You have to wait for like a day for the money to be deposited, which is fine. But again, something you need to be aware of. Otherwise, your brain will go crazy. Then there's other services like Luno, which don't allow direct deposit. So you have to verify. You have to use another payment service, at least in Singapore, to transfer the money there, and then transfer it into Luno, which is complete insanity. And then you sign up with this one, and then you realize, hey, they're doing like one by one, like verification by humans of your like driver's license or your identification card or whatever. And then you wait another day. So if anything, right, just get it done. Just get it done while you wait for the approval, right? And get your money in there, and then you can do whatever, right?
And you don't have to transfer a whole lot. I mean, just, and we're going to explain how, about how much.
Yeah, and what minting is, right? Because we're throwing that around, and it's not a chewing gum. It's something completely different.
Right. Okay, so you've gotten your, you've gotten your money
into the exchange,
into the bank, into the exchange. And now you have some money sitting there. What's next?
You need to so you basically have your US dollar in the exchange, right? And then you can't do anything yet. You need to actually buy Ethereum on the exchange. So you say like, okay, I want $100 worth of Ethereum, and then you get like 0.02 Ethereum or whatever the exchange rate right now is. It changes, right? It changes by the second. So take note of that. And then you have Ethereum. But now you need to actually go on the website, let's say Super Rare. You make your account, and then it will ask you to set up a MetaMask profile. What is that?
Wallet.
So it's a wallet, right? So it's kind of like an interface.
It's a wallet.
Right?
Basically, it's exchange to wallet. This wallet is also going to have your identity basically in it, and super rare. A lot of these sites log you in from your wallet.
Right, exactly.
So if I go to Vive3, it'll log me into my wallet.
Exactly.
Like it'll ask me to be, to log in from there. So your wallet is kind of like your driver license kind of thing. It holds all your money and your identity. So that's the next thing you have to set up. But MetaMask is very easy to set up.
It's like a little plugin for Chrome. It's like a little plugin you install in Chrome, or maybe for Edge or whatever. It doesn't exist for Safari yet. So for all the Mac users, you need to use Chrome. And it basically, it's like a wallet, and it has a unique address. So it's like a hash code that's quite long, and it has your name in it and the value, right? So as a next step, then once you're logged in and you have your MetaMask profile, you have to go into your exchange and send the Ethereum to that wallet by using the unique hash code. And usually the websites, the Super Rare Foundation, they make it really easy to find that address, and then you transfer it there. It takes a minute or so, and then the money is transferred. You refresh the page, or you refresh your MetaMask profile thing, and then you see the amount credited. So
quick thing, start with a very low amount. Just to
try. Don't send hundreds of dollars to somebody else just because you got the hash, the address wrong.
Well, I was thinking more like just don't send thousands of dollars.
Yeah. You won't need that in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are still fees, so just be aware.
Well, there's exchange fees, right? So you have to pay an exchange fee from changing US dollar into Ethereum, and then there's a transfer fee from the exchange to the wallet. Just like a little transfer fee, but still it's a few dollars. So if you're calculating I don't want to send 50 cents more, then you might in the end have like just $1 less than what you need to mint a piece or to list it. So that can happen. That happened to me. So just be aware of that. Always account for a little bit of a buffer because you have to pay fees. And then great, you have money in your wallet. What do you do now?
Well, now hopefully you've been approved. Yeah. And you're on a site that uses, the MetaMask. So now you're going to have to mint your first piece. And minting is tokenizing is the same thing, right? So what you need to do is make that digital artwork, put it in the blockchain.
So it's being written into the blockchain.
It's being written in the blockchain. And for doing that, there needs to be a gas fee. So the gas fee fluctuates, right? So it fluctuates from, it could be, $10 to $200 or more. It depends on the time of day and how busy the blockchain is.
What is a gas fee? What does that mean?
Well, gas fee is it's more like a convenience fee. It's whatever, right? Because you're writing something to it and people are mining it. They're saying, okay, you have information that you want to put in this blockchain. The data miners have to physically do that. Right. They have to spend the electricity. They have to spend their machine to actually write in that code. Right. So that is the gas fee. And the gas fee, it just depends on how busy the blockchain is at the moment.
So right now
if it's not busy at all, it'll be cheaper.
Right now it was fluctuating.
For me, it's been roughly between, I think the lowest I've gotten was $40 and the highest was around $90.
Okay, so mine was between 30 to 50 in the last few days. But it depends, right? So, now it's minted, it's written on the blockchain, takes a few seconds usually. Then there's the next thing. So make sure you have a bit more money in there because now you need to list it on this website. And that costs you pretty much the same amount of money again, right?
Well, in Super Rare, pretty much it's the gas fee is.
Oh, really? Okay.
The fee.
So then maybe that's different in Foundation. So you pay first like $40 for minting it, and then you pay another $40 for listing it. So you have to see the entire amount as twice. Like
Wait, hold on. So listing, are you talking about having a list
No,
price?
making it available
kind of
on
thing?
the website. Otherwise, it's only minted.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not listed. Maybe that's how
Okay.
how foundation is different. I don't know. And
Okay.
and then you list it, and then it appears on the website, and then somebody else can buy it. Then you set your price, and that's it. And then once it's listed, it's good to go. You can share the link, and anybody can buy it. There's also a fee that let's say you're completely stressed out, and we'll get to the mental health part right away. You're totally stressed out, like shit, nobody wants to buy my stuff. Like, let me lower the price. For any kind of adjustment, there's a little fee, like $5 or whatever, because the information.
So
has to be
that's foundation,
yeah,
right?
that's foundation, for example.
Okay, and for a lot of you, it's going to be foundation, or I think Rarible probably you can change, but just in general, there's going to be a couple things. Like, so I'm on Super Rare. My experience has been that either you can upload it, you've tokenized it, you can leave it there, and people can make offers, right?
Yeah.
They can just make offers, and you can accept or not accept.
Right.
The other thing is you can list it for a price.
Mm-hmm.
So if you list it for, say, 1 Ethereum, if someone says, okay, I'll pay 1, that's it. The transaction is done, right? It's a buy it now, basically. So there's the buy it now. And then the third way is auction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in auction, basically you say, well, I'm going to set a reserve price of 1 Ethereum. And once that reserve price is reached, a 24-hour countdown clock starts. And when that starts, people can bid as much as they want. And when it ends, whoever has the highest bid wins.
Right.
And it's usually guaranteed. So that's how it is on Super Rare. Is that the same mechanism?
For foundation, only the last option is available. So you set a price that you want to.
The auction.
Yeah, only the auction. So you have a reserve price. Once that is met, 24-hour auction starts. Anybody can bid, goes to the highest bidder. That's it.
Yeah, so find out about this on the site that you're in.
Yeah, exactly.
Read up on it and figure out what you want to do strategically.
And then you don't get 100%. So there's a commission fee for the website. How much is that on Super Rare?
I actually don't know exactly, to be honest with you, and I need to find out, actually.
I mean, it's usually around 10 to 15%. On foundation, they take 15% of the final sales price. So deduct that from there. And then remember, right, you have to get that money it's in your wallet. You have to transfer it back to the exchange and then get it out into your bank account. And then again, there's fees, there's exchange fees, there's stuff like that, right? So just be aware, right? Somebody is going to make a little bit of money off there, right? Because everybody wants to have a piece. But anyway, that is kind of like the whole cycle of selling something on these websites. If you want to just buy something, then it's the other way, right? You just click on buy and that's it, right? And then hope you get it.
So now, you obviously at some point you have to figure out, how do you want to list, how often you post, and, we'll get into that. I mean, I think, okay, we'll go down the list of what we have, but I think one of the most important things is, like, if you're on Nifty Gateway, I already explained that they'll do the marketing for you. Right. They'll list it for you. You don't have to really do much. I mean, of course, you still need to let people know, and you still have to have a good social media game. But for any of those other sites, other than Nifty Gateway, you're going to have to do your own marketing.
Right.
And you're going to have to do it on Twitter, because that is where, I mean, ultimately, who are you selling to? You're not really selling to fellow artists, although I know a lot of artists are paying it forward and buying their art, other artists' art. And, especially if the ones that have made a lot of money want to support other artists, and that's awesome and that's wonderful. But by and large, it's going to be collectors. And collectors, there's a couple kind, right? There's ones that just want to turn a profit. So they're purely looking at numbers. There's ones who enjoy art and want to make a profit, and there's ones that just have a lot of money who just enjoy art, and that's it. They're going to hold it forever, kind of. So there's a couple kinds. So I would say, if you don't have a Twitter account, get one. Start exploring it, and then start, using it and connecting with your friends and connecting with whoever you can on that scene. those of you who are using it, use it to further find new friends who are in the scene, follow collectors, all that kind of stuff. And just be aware that you may lose followers too.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are definitely some people who are not going to like your NFT posts.
Yeah, it's very divisive.
You're going to be posting a lot of. Yeah. So be okay with that. But Twitter is where it's at. I mean, not to say don't use Instagram or Facebook, but I would say that that's not the preferred platform, and that Twitter is.
Exactly.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. It's a tricky thing, because I mean, a lot of the people who maybe use Twitter for a long time, they have built up a following, and that following might consist mostly of fellow artists or random people who enjoy your art, and they might not necessarily be happy, because what happens on Twitter, I guess it's like whatever topic is hot just kind of takes over everything. And then suddenly your feed is full of NFT stuff, if you want it or not. If all your friends are all into NFT, then suddenly your feed is going to explode, and you might hate that. So you lose followers. That's fine, right? Use it.
Well, and you gain some
different ones, new ones, right? But Twitter is it's a bit different from Instagram, right? You're not just posting images and stuff like that, but it's a lot about interaction. You have to find the people that you want to talk to. You have to be a bit less selfish, and not just post your links to buy everywhere. You have to find a bit of a happy medium between doing that to get your name out, and to also share other people, share other people's work, share other people's listings, help people that looking for information, help artists who are struggling to get seen, right? Try to point people in the right direction, spread good news, spread positivity, and that kind of stuff, right? So,
right, and you're never you never know who you help might come back to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the Twitter things that I found that is very useful is a lot of people think, okay, I'm gonna retweet, and it's gonna push my tweet down, of my thing, So what I do now is I retweet, and then I'll just pin one tweet that's the most recent and valid. I'll just pin that one to the top, because you can do one tweet that you can pin, right? And then I'll just retweet everybody's that you have to be genuinely liking, certain things, but it's big. Please understand this, that you have to, if you want to work together to help each other out, get the word out, because it's really hard to get your stuff seen. If you're on Rarible or one of those open sites, it's really difficult. So, I'm on Super Rare, and I'm finding it super difficult to get my stuff seen. I can't even see it when I post it. So retweet, when you feel comfortable, do that. But, if you're afraid that it gets drowned out, pin your tweet that, maybe you have it a drop. So to pin it to the top. People will always see that first. So that'll be all good, you know? It's just good karma.
Yeah,
really.
it is.
And you need the help, and they need the help.
Exactly.
Right.
And
work together
it's
together.
It's not like usually either or, right? Different collectors look for different things, right? So it's not it's either you or me, and that's it, right? It's not like that. There's I think a collector for everyone.
The funny thing with collectors, that leads us to the next thing, which is it's a different audience. Just know that right now, it's a different audience. You might think, well, I'm this, I'm top of my game and all that. They haven't seen your work. They don't know what you're about.
They're not coming
from
They
don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like, what is this? Is this a photo? This is one thing that I've noticed, is that if you're one of those artists that do a lot of photo real stuff, a lot of these collectors, they wonder, is that just a photo they took with their iPhone? Some of them don't really know what they're looking at. And that's unfortunate, because they're not understanding the work it takes. So that's where you have to get more descriptive on your bio, or on the piece's bio, or whatever. But just know that you're catering to a whole different audience.
Right.
There's not a production designer or art director looking at it.
It's very different.
Yeah, so it's something we're still trying to figure out. I am.
Yeah, it's true.
Because when you go on Super Rare, it's just all these abstract colorful things dancing around, and then you've got my thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, people are like, what is that?
Yeah, it doesn't stand out enough, right? Often. But I mean...
Or it stands out as, do I want that?
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
what is that?
That's
you
true.
know, so I'm still trying new things.
You have to. I think you need to be open to see. I mean, it comes down to then strategy again. Like, what do you really want to do with this? Is this something like, are you okay with like saying like, okay, I mean, I don't mind going in and kind of being amorphous and kind of doing things that sell? That is fine. Like, find a happy medium between what you think sells well and what you do. Or maybe you insist like, I will not compromise. I want to be me, and I want to be recognized for that. That's also cool, right? And some people just want to sell out. That's also cool, right? You can do, it's fine. I mean, you can do whatever you want with this, right? There's no rules. It's just that you need to be aware of the implications of what that means, right? If you
it's just funny because it's so blunt.
I mean, it's like
you want to sell out.
It's about like I mean, if you want to sell out, that's cool, right? So then you probably will make a lot of money in the short term, and if you're cool with that, doing that's cool, right? I mean, I don't even want to call it selling out. It's just that you're being a bit smarter about a short-term investment, right? Whereas if you want to not compromise, if you don't want to compromise, then you need to be aware that it will take a lot longer to find the right collectors, that you will be struggling for a long time to find anybody, right? Who is willing to invest, and you have to be okay with that, because that will be difficult. That will be a difficult time. You will be seeing all these people come in and sell out right away and make a lot of money while you're sitting on your pieces and nothing's happening. So be aware of that, right?
Well, I mean, I also think that the content itself is definitely going to be very confusing for a lot of people. Like, what do I drop? What's the best thing? What's going to sell? What's not going to sell? And I think, like you said, you have to decide who you are and which route you want to go. A lot of people are wondering, do I use old work? Do I use new work? Do I do new work? And I think that's all up to you. That's purely up to you. But I think one thing I believe it's not, there's one thing that I think you should be careful of is doing fan art and IP specific art that isn't something owned by you, because if you make, I mean, unless it's satire or there's some way to spin it so that you can use it. If you are wondering, I would just say don't use it, because let's say you make $1 million. At some point, Warner Brothers is going to come over and say, hey, that's $1 million. Right. Maybe we should get a cut, and then what? I just think stay safe. It's just
tricky,
my
right?
thought.
It's I mean, by anybody's best guess, this is a complete gray zone, right? I mean, a lot of times
it is gray. It is
the people who do some sort of fan art, and we have been talking about this before, right? Oftentimes they will not be harassed by the big companies because they're not selling anything, or whatever they sell is just so like negligible that they will not bother. But if you have a $2 million drop based on some Mickey Mouse trading cards, you bet that Disney is going to come, right? You can be sure, right? And the cease and desist letters haven't started yet, but they will. They will. So
I mean, and a lot of people are saying, well, I'll just get the letter and take it down. But if there's enough money involved, I mean, why?
I mean, once you sold the original to someone though, and then the cease and desist letter comes, you can't erase it from the blockchain. What's going to happen?
Yeah. So what happens is the person who bought that original is going to be really rich, because that's going to be a one of one, and that will never exist. No, I'm serious. Because I was in a Clubhouse room and we're talking about just this thing, and there were some artists that were saying, "Well, screw it. I'm just going to mint it and let the cease and desist come." And then I think there was a lawyer in there going, "You can do that, and there will be a cease and desist, but you will get sued."
Exactly.
Like, there's a good chance you'll get sued if you sold it for a lot of money. So in the end, my thing is just, if when in doubt, just don't do it.
I mean,
for your own benefit.
So that's the thing
not for anybody else.
It's true. You have to be really careful, right? It's not something you can just delete off the internet and then it's gone. It just exists in some history in Twitter or whatever. The other thing is about licensed items, right? So I mean, there's a lot of us use Kitbash. A lot of us use this and that, right? There's a lot of animations where people use music, and the thing is, right? If it's not, I mean, and in a lot of these places where you can license music or you license Kitbash, right? They usually have a breakdown of what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And the NFT space is too new. This kind of stuff is not reflected in any kind of page's licensing terms. If you don't have a business license, a commercial license for what you're using, be very careful with using like the kind of licensed music or stuff that you have. And even then, the company might come after you. So again, if you're in doubt, maybe you got that as like an individual, like freelancer license or whatever, and suddenly you sell a piece that has that, I don't know, character, building, whatever asset front and center, they might come after you, right? It doesn't have to be, because again, it's a gray zone right now. It's like, is it fair use? Is it not? Is it covered in the online? Is it considered streaming? Like, a lot of the websites don't cover that. The ones that license music, for example, I have an animation and I have a piece of music that's in the public domain, but the recording is not in the public domain. Just the piece of music. So I'm like, can I upload this? Is it like? And again, if you're in doubt, don't do it. Don't do it, right? It's you're setting yourself up for a whole lot of trouble potentially, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's all. I mean, like I'm not telling people don't do it, but I'm just saying,
be aware.
Just be aware, and it's not an opinion or anything. It's just one of those things where I just don't want anybody to get sued.
Exactly.
That's really all there is to it, And
you had just something quickly I wanted to add, because you just mentioned Clubhouse, right? So I mean, the main game is happening on Twitter in terms of social media and marketing, but it has kind of spilled over a little bit into Clubhouse, which is like this new app for your mobile phone. It's a drop-in audio.
Only iPhone.
Only iPhone for now. Oh my God. Okay.
Only iPhone.
And it's kind of like anybody can start an audio chat room. It's audio only. So we want to do something for ADP as well. So keep a lookout for that. Basically, we can start a chat room on the app, and then anybody can join. And you just put out a reminder and then share it on social media, and then people can click on it, and then you can join the chat room and you can hear the conversation. You can drop in and leave anytime. So it's a pretty cool thing, and a lot of creators, a lot of investors have been in and out of these calls. And another thing besides Clubhouse is, I think, Discord. There's also a lot of things happening that usually these sites have their own Discords where you can exchange yourself about like how to do things, FAQ, talk amongst creators, share your work. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, definitely go check out all the Discord servers. There's a lot of people there that are introducing themselves. You can see how they're doing. I mean, it's going to be a rabbit hole that you dive down into.
Yeah, it's time consuming.
So just so you know. Yeah, it's time consuming. Just even being on Twitter. And a lot of people are probably going to be like, I don't want to be on Twitter. If you don't want to be on Twitter, then you have to be okay with your chances being cut by like at least 50%, if not more. I mean, so just saying.
Let's segue into something related to that. So suddenly you feel like you're spending 100% of your time on Twitter, and your stuff is just not selling as well as you thought it did. You're not that runaway success. You haven't made millions yet, and day after day you're getting more anxious, and you're trying to sell your soul on Twitter, and it's never ending, and the doom scrolling is happening. We wanted to talk a little bit, I think, about the effects on mental health here. And I'm really glad that a lot of people like David Ariu and his wife, they are taking matters in their own hands and starting a lot of like Clubhouse chats on this kind of topic. And it's on people's minds. Because I think more than ever, like the kind of implications this has for the artist's mind are quite substantial. So
well, let me just start with my story, and then I want to hear your story and how you feel, because the reason why we're saying this is also because we're in it, and we're diving in and finding out things, and we're sharing it with you. And there's a reason why we're not going to premiere this next week and all that, because we want to just throw this video out so that, you know, whoever you are, can have the information as soon as possible, because this is happening right now. So for me, you know, I'm pretty sure most people know, you know, who I am, and, you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, but, you know, I'm a 20+ year veteran of this industry. So I feel like I've reached a certain level, you know, I'm not the top, but I've reached a certain level where I feel like, okay, I can work on, my dream films, and I have a certain amount of expertise and technique, and I have a lot of things to say as an artist, and I'm just, you know, sort of getting to the point in my life where I want to stop working and start being an artist, you know, basically full time if I can. So this is kind of coming right at the perfect time. So for me, I got into Super Rare. I was like, oh, okay, I'm in a site. Okay, I'm gonna do this. And I did original art. You know, I didn't just pull out an old piece and say, here, you know, old piece, I'm going to test the waters. I said, you know what, I'm going to make all new art. And you know, you all know that takes time. Poured my heart out, tried different styles. And, you know, and it was kind of blah. And it sold, you know, a little. And I could tell you my mentality. I mean, I basically went from a high of thinking, you know, yes, you know, I'm gonna make this. You know, this art is awesome. I really like it. You know, all the way from there down to I'm just a piece of crap. Nobody likes my stuff. How I put so much hope and expectation that this is going to be my next thing. You know, I'm not going to have to work for anybody anymore. I can do this. And I guarantee you a lot of you are going to feel that way. And I was so down. I don't think I've been that down in a long, long time. And I was just kind of like, oh my God, nobody likes my work. Nobody sees my work. And, you know, I'm on Twitter all the damn time and nobody cares. And then you look at the next piece and you're going, well, how does that piece getting 50,000 bid on it? What? Like, this is like, what? And so you have a lot of problem with, I had a lot of problem with it. And I realized that one of the most important things is to go into this with not low expectations, but understanding what can happen and what may happen. Like, if you blow up, that's awesome, right? But the truth, and if you blow up, there's people with imposter syndrome that kind of go, oh, you know, I'm not that good. I can't do this. You know, they can do that too. But for me, it was like, and I'm going through this right now. I mean, you know, I've got some stuff that's sitting there, and I'm going, well, I guess nobody likes that. And it really messes with you. And I'm a sensitive guy, so because I'm looking at the art, I'm going, man, this art is good. What is going on? I poured my heart out into this, and nobody wants it. And I'm like, what? And then, you know, then some people buy it. Like yesterday, I had, you know, this is people are going to run into this. So I, you know, it was selling. People were bidding, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to take that high bid. You know, it was decent bid. It was almost $10,000. I was like, okay, I'm going to take that bid. And that person had retracted the bid because I waited too long. Basically. And I was like, no. And then, you know, it's just one of those things where you kind of sit there and going, oh my God. And so tomorrow I'm going to do another drop, like new art again, completely new, never posted anywhere. And we'll see what it does. But at least now I'm starting to adjust my mentality because, you know, thank God for my wife because she's like, and, you know, thank God for you because I call Jan, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, honestly, I was pretty much in a bad place. You saw that. I mean, even though we haven't known each other that long, you could see that I wasn't doing well, you know, like it was not cool. And I feel like the mental health aspect, no one's talking about, because everybody's on this high right now. They're like, we got to jump on this, but they're setting such an expectation that there's nowhere to go but down. And that, to me, that's dangerous. And be careful, because like learn from like, you know, what I'm going through, right? I mean, because I represent, you know, a certain amount of people, right? Some people are like me, so they're going to have these problems. And I'm a 20 plus year veteran, and I'm going, you're going from one industry that you may be the top, you're coming into, remember we're talking about a different audience, right? So now you're with a different audience that doesn't know you from Adam. They don't know that you worked on whatever film. They don't care. They just care what they're looking at, and they go, yeah, I don't really like that.
Yeah.
And your 20 years is going to go down the drain, because you know what? This is art. And art, you can't, it's subjective.
Yeah.
You can't put a definition on it. So really curb your expectations. And, you know, reach out and talk to people. A lot of people are going through that. That's why some of these Discords and Clubhouses are really good, you know, to sort of get, you know, talk to people and get some encouragement, because I'll share this, and then I want to hear you, Jan. It's that I went on this server and talked to a bunch of motion graphic designers, and they were all there to help each other, which I really liked, because you know, it was not like, oh, I'm competing with you. It was like, I want to help you, and I want to help each other. And then I met a guy there that actually we should put a link to his stuff. His name is he goes by the nickname Mankind, and he's doing actually a Nifty Gateway drop on Saturday. But he took his time out to help everybody on the chat, and they were like, they all knew each other. It was like 20, 30 guys, and they were like, hey, guys and girls, and they were like, you know, what he had been in the scene for the longest, so he was, you know, just trying to explain things and help each other out, and he's always around to help. And I think that just make sure that you all help each other through this, because this, and you know, of course there's the sense of FOMO, right? Like you're like, hey man, I got to get on this train. If I don't get on, I'm losing out. But in the end, you know, I decided for myself, I'm going to put my best work out there. I know what it is. I know what I'm worth. And honestly, if people like it, they like it. If they don't like it, I can't help it. I enjoy doing it. So, and maybe I don't make a living just as a private artist like that.
Yeah.
Or it may take longer. Who knows?
Exactly.
So curb that. And yeah, I want to hear, how was your experience? I completely took that over.
No. It's great. It's great to really hear all the ins and outs and what you were thinking at that time. And I think that's incredibly helpful, because again, some people might be in the middle of it. Some people might be at the beginning. I mean, honestly, I feel like, again, take what I say with a pinch of salt, because I'm still very new to this scene, and I've gone through some of it, but not all of it. I haven't reached the absolute highs yet where I'm selling a lot of stuff and I'm super happy or whatever and go crazy. But so basically I beat myself up a lot because I felt I missed the train. Like, so there was the Beeple drop, which kind of put this whole thing into everybody's consciousnness. And then I actually signed up for Nifty Gateway. And then I didn't hear back. So I was like, okay, this is bullshit. Like, this is just like a thing I don't understand, and I should leave it alone. I didn't apply anywhere else in like, what was it, late December or early January. I didn't do any further research, whereas people like Ben were just like looking like, okay, what is there? What do I need to do? Like, I need to sign up to everywhere. I need to find different platforms. I didn't do any of that, because it was just nonsense. And then like a month or two later, just like I heard just so many people doing it and getting into it, and the potential and everything, and I was like, I still don't get it. Like, what are people doing? And I was kind of really ignoring it for a long time, I didn't know what to do with it. So I just kind of continued ignoring it, and then it just finally got too much. And then I signed up everywhere, and then nothing happened. Of course, at that point, too many people already were signed up. It's just confusing. And then like every day you check your email, nothing's happening. This guy sells $100,000. This guy sells $200,000, and you're like just waiting every day, and like nothing's happening. So you feel like every day that you're like falling a month behind. But then I finally got in. So great, through an invite, and
on what site?
On Foundation, right? Well, I'm still waiting on everything else because the waiting lists are now so long. So I got into Foundation, and then of course I did the screw up with like not transferring the money before, so I had to wait again a day or two, and then everything was finally set up. So I uploaded, and I was with the intention of like, I'm gonna do my thing, and then the same thing happens, right? Like nobody looks at it, nobody bids on it, nothing's happening, right? And it's still very early, so I need to keep my expectations low. But I'm also like, I mean, I don't know what will work. I don't know what people will be interested in. So I'm trying to find a variety of things. But I think I'm spending too much time on Twitter already, because like you just completely bombard everybody with your stuff and try to interact. And I'm okay with social media. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But it's draining. Even though you're not doing much, you're just kind of like refreshing and checking and trying to check your listing like every 5 minutes or whatever to see if anybody bid on it. And it just kind of creates this weird thing, downward spiral of you going crazy. And it's not good. I mean, I see the main problem though, my personal issue with it is that if I do client work, it's easier to distance myself from that work. And if the client evaluates my work and we have a feedback session or whatever, then they can comment on the design of it. They can comment mostly on how this piece fits the project that we're working on. And that's fine, right? It's not a personal attack or anything, or you can't take it that way. But now that you're producing personal work that is maybe intensely personal, and now you're being evaluated. I mean, it feels like you're being evaluated based on that, and your personal taste is on the line. Like it feels bad if nothing's happening and it's being ignored. It really doesn't feel good, and I think the implications for people's self-worth and everything are really on the line here. And but like you said, right, there was a good point that a lot of the stuff, like everything's public now, right? We talked about in our rates episode that there needs to be more transparency in terms of what people can charge for design work. And it's good for everybody to have an average idea of what you should be charging. But now it's like everybody's income is there for everybody to see. And I think that has big implications on people's self-worth, either way. Either if they if they don't sell anything, or if they're like the top sellers or whatever. I think it has big implications on the personality, right? Nobody can say that they're unaffected by making $2 million in a matter of minutes. Yeah, I mean, right?
For the seasoned pro, they'll be like, well, I should make that much. And then for the other people, it's the same. It's like everybody's going to have, either not enough, or why is somebody
There's
doing
always
that,
going to be like, oh,
I'm
shit, the other guy made 10 grand, 100 million. Even if you make $1 million, you're like planning for the next million, right? It's like, how can I get more faster? Because that feeling of like every piece needs to sell better than the one before, right? There's always going to be that.
Tell me, why are you doing this?
So, right, that's a good question, right? I'm trying to figure that out. I mean, ideally, I want this to be really about what I want to do, right? I mean, there was some time ago, a couple of years ago, where I tried to like kind of shift things and try to experiment and kind of really like, okay, I really don't want to do this concept art thing. Like, let's try something different. And the stuff that that looked very different and I was happy at doing it. but I was losing like Instagram followers while I was posting it. Nobody liked it. There was just like a clear difference in how much people appreciated what I was making before and what I was making now. And that really put big doubts in my mind of like, should I even be doing this? Like, is this like, and then we had this conversation, is this bad? Is my taste like bad now or what? Or like, why do people not like this, right? And now I thought, hey, it would be great to get back to that because it really means a lot to me, and I should upload that. But like nothing, right? It's like, again, the same thing. Like, how do I stay sane? How do I stay focused on what I want to do without having that voice in my head that says like, oh, that's not selling. Like nobody's going to be interested in that. It's bad. And I honestly, I cannot deny that the potential for being able to have an income through that is tempting, right? It is tempting. We all have bills to pay. We all have mortgages, cars, tuition fee for our kids. We all have that, right? We can't just be in a dream state where we just do art for art's sake and be completely unaffected by the potential to make some money, right? And how much is okay for you, that needs to be something you need to make out with yourself, right? If it's your dream to own a yacht with supermodels, well then you better get on it, right? But if you're just looking to make a normal living and in an average city in the world without getting filthy rich, then there might be something for you, right? But again, how can you not be affected when you see the top artists earning 100 times what you make? It is impossible for us humans to not compare ourselves.
Or vice versa,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Being a top artist making peanuts.
Right. So it's like, and then, I mean, also what does that to the industry at large? A lot of the people who are on here who are successful, they're also they're still working with or have worked as I don't know, designers, artists, 3D artists, technical guys. Like now it's like, hey, I could make $100,000 with this JPEG I have on my hard disk. Like how dare you ask me for like working for $500 a day on this project I don't like? What are the implications for that, right? I mean, that's something to think about.
Some people, it's just I'm cashing in.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to cash in. I'm going to make a bunch of money as much as I can, and see where it goes. But for all the things that I've researched and my thoughts on it, I actually think crypto art is here to stay. I'm really glad. Like, you know, I'm more like Ben when we're talking in terms of the mentality of having this as being a new art form and hopefully a supplemental income. I don't think it's going to be a main income for a lot of things, but maybe some of your hard work doing personal work can be rewarded. And you know, all it takes is finding the right group of people to like your work, and then you've created, you know, a market, right? But just make sure that you're not trying to now tune your art to the market, because now you've made the collectors your client.
Yeah, exactly. Just have another client.
And so now you're doing just, you know, instead of that client work, which you can count on and leave at, you know, 6 p.m. and you call it a day. Now you've got that client, which is 24/7. So it's actually a worse deal. So either you come into it really, you know, you can leverage your old work, but, you know, at some point that's going to run out, you know. So you got to ask yourself what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, what's your reason for doing it, and you have to really sit down and say, is it reasonable? Do I want to do that? Because this is having your own business. This is 24/7, don't know what to do, stressing out about it. And I guarantee you, Jan, you're going to check that website in the weekend.
Yeah.
You're going to look at your shit
Terrible.
sold. There's just the way you cannot not do that because you really want to know. It's telling you what you're worth. And until you get to the point where you're going like, I don't care anymore. And the truth of it is, don't make that client, right? Don't make that collector your client. I personally, that's what I'm going to do, because the reason I'm doing this is because I want to express myself and possibly make enough to help maybe work less. Not
be amazing,
just not work, but work less. Maybe I don't have to work on 3 films a year. Maybe I do 1, and I have all this time to do my personal art and to develop it, my own IP, whatever that is. And I have a chance, Now there is a chance. Before this, there was not much chance. Like, like how, it didn't exist. So,
well, it was always via, there were options, but it was always via some workaround, right? You had to you make the art and then you sell a tutorial about how to make the art, or you kind of sell little bits and pieces of how you go about, I don't know, on Patreon or whatever.
And I never wanted to do tutorials or any of this, but we can equate this movement almost like the Gumroads when they started, right? It exploded. Everybody was doing Gumroads. It was super exciting. Like people were making a lot of money, but the fad died down a bit, and now Gumroad still sells a lot, but it sells more quality stuff. So I really feel that will happen, and right now, stay put. You're going to get drowned out a little bit. I'm drowned out. Some people are going to get success that you don't think deserve, and some people who deserve success are not going to get any success. So the best thing I could say is make sure you keep your mental health well. If you have any mental health issues, go into it knowing this. Set up a support system, talk to people. Don't neglect this, because if I am going to a dark place, I'm telling you, some people are going to go, I don't know where they're going to go, and I don't want anybody to go there. So really be aware when you're doing this. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying just be careful and aware.
Right.
And then should we just get to the last thing? I mean,
yeah, let's talk about the last thing. Sorry, guys. I think you following on YouTube, you will see it. My camera cut out. It is overheating, so I need to let it cool down a little bit. I'm not gone. But we wanted to keep the flow here, right? So
yeah,
the last topic is very controversial, and I mean, I don't know if anybody has any hard facts really, but we nevertheless wanted to mention it because it's a hot topic right now, right? So talking a little bit about the environmental concerns and about mainly the amount of electricity that is being used on a per capita basis to mine this stuff. I mean, we talked a little bit about it before with the gas fee, right? So somebody has to write the code into the blockchain. There's miners that have armies of graphics cards that are using really a lot of electricity, and I guess it's not really. I mean, you have read a lot more about it, but I guess the concern is that, I mean, if you compare this to another industry.
Hold on, actually, before you continue, sorry, why don't you just pull up that link that I put down there so that we can look at the pie chart together, on the Word doc. But yeah, basically, I mean, I'll just continue real quick until you get that up, because it's actually a very interesting chart. We're going to put in we're going to put in some of these links for you guys. There will be for and there will be against, pros and cons, and I want you all to look at it and decide for yourself where you stand or how you feel about it. The reason why Jan was bringing it up first, and I initially I thought, well, maybe let's not get into it, but I want to get into it at least to an extent of saying that some people are feeling very worked up about it. And if you're getting into it, there's going to be a good chance that people are going to say certain things to you about the fact that you're destroying the earth. And they will be quite hostile. So we just want to share some information. You can look at the sites, but there is this pie chart, and actually... you can continue. Actually, I'll let you finish.
I don't know. I was just going to say, right? I mean, it's people are saying for it says that, I mean, compared to other sectors, right? Like the energy sector, industrial, the whole I don't know, chemical processing, like meat industry. the livestock industry in general, the production of your clothing, right, and everything, right? Then compared to all of this kind of stuff, it is negligible. But of course, it's not negligible. It's not, you can't just say that. But I mean, it's like, it's really tricky. And as much as I want to say that everybody has to make that decision for themselves, of course it affects everybody around us. But it's like, okay, I mean, for all the meat eaters, are you now turning vegan because you're aware of? Does the whole world turn vegan because they're aware of the issues with the livestock industry? Does everybody now stop shopping at H&M because of the way they produce and bleach and color and produce their clothing? People don't do that. I think it's so tightly connected to each person's like convenience, right? People do what's convenient for them, because these issues don't have. It's the same like with a diet or like with eating shitty food or doing shitty things that only over time slowly accumulate and that don't really have an immediate impact on your lifestyle at any given point, right? So
I mean, just to piggyback off that real quick.
Please.
So just so people know, and you know, we're not trying to preach. There's
no.
I'm all for all kinds of point of views, and we can always make this world better, right? The Bitcoin stuff. There's this article going around saying, you know, they're equating certain comparisons to, you know, like one token that you do is equal to how many hours or you know of you know how much electricity it takes for certain things. And I feel like it's pretty disingenuous because it's very lopsided in terms of its views. But that's not to say don't, you know, look at it. But make sure when you look at any article is that there are facts that are backed up and it's not just pure opinion. We'll list it. So the site that, you know, I've listened to a lot of different experts talk about it, saying that actually it is a sustainable energy and it's not any more than... Actually, Bitcoin mining is not more than your normal brick and mortar banking electricity and carbon footprint because, you know, it's just a fact. So I would encourage all of you just to look at the links that we put. There's also another YouTube video that's really good from an expert. I'll give all the links out, and it's just worth it for you to look at it because at some point, and I've received those emails too, at some point you may be asked, or this might be a topic that comes up, or maybe you just want to be more aware, which is, I think, is already a first step into making the world better for everybody if you're more aware. And also in this doc or in this link, you know, you can, you know, even though Bitcoin might not be more than the banking system or whatever carbon footprint, it still has a sizable carbon footprint. So are there ways to, you know, make it better? How can you donate? Are there places to donate to make it better? You know, all this kind of stuff. Read the articles, see what you feel. There are things we can do. There is new, you know, the Ethereum 2 might be a way off, but it's you know, it's looking to make energy more efficient. There are actually some Bitcoins, and I got to thank John Park for this because he really turned me onto some of this information. There are some Bitcoins that are actually green. So it just, you know, they're not the popular ones. It's not Ethereum right now, but just do your research, but be aware that there are implications to what you're doing. Just like everything else, like Jan says. But you can make a difference, but research it for yourself and make a decision for yourself. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
And, you know, I think we should just end it by just saying, you know, like, we really want we want all of you to succeed. That's why we're kind of rushing this out for you. Because, you know, we were supposed to do another topic tonight, but I just felt like we had to do this because everybody is feeling like they're being left out. And I think there is actually more things to come. I would just say work on your own stuff, be your best, do your best. And I guarantee you somebody's going to like that.
True.
That's all I can say.
That's the best thing to close out this episode that we can say. I want to just leave it at that. It's crucial, I think, that everybody reminds themselves of that. But anyway, yeah, I think there was a good kind of how to say, like a good summary of everything that I think a lot of people are going through right now and that a lot of people are asking. So we put all the links down there. We wish you the best of luck with your...
Okay. One thing before we go. Sorry, because I just remember this. We were talking about the Clubhouse. So if you all are... Put a comment on the... put a comment, basically, if you are into doing a Clubhouse chat. If you are, just put on comment yes, and let's see, if there's two people, then what's the point, right? I mean, but if there's a if you would all like to have a Clubhouse chat, or maybe we can even make it a regular thing. We can find ways to get you invites and all that kind of stuff, because I think we can invite people, and some people probably already have it. Yeah. So do comment, and this is an important episode for now, so please share this as much as you can, because you want people to see it.
Yeah, for everybody who has questions about NFT, point them to the video, so that that you don't have to type so much, so we can all benefit from just sharing the knowledge more efficiently, right? Great. I think that was good. We want to do the Clubhouse thing. I think not only for NFT, but also I think in general it would be a fun experiment to see if you guys are up for more casual chats that are more about interaction instead of us like talking all by ourselves here. But anyway, if you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your NFT loving friends and maybe even your NFT hating friends. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, have a good weekend and don't go crazy, okay?